Welcome to Healthy Mind, Better Future, a podcast dedicated to mental wellness, family strength, and community healing for Africans in the diaspora. With me are Dr. Adeyemi Fatoki, Dr. Caroline Olaleye, Dr. Kenneth Soyemi, Mrs. Dorcas Fatoki, Mr. Funmi Onayemi, and Funmi Apantaku-Onayemi, your host. Leaving home to start a new life is one of the bravest things anyone can do. For all our brothers and sisters stepping onto US soil for the first time, whether you just landed at JFK, LAX, or Chicago or here, you'll experience culture shock. Today, we'll be talking about something very important to all of us. This topic is so critical to discuss because many families have been broken in America simply because a family member from America chooses to help someone from home to come and join them in America. Or it could just be that someone from home showed up or called from the airport to say, I'm here to go to school. Come pick me up. And so the disaster starts. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about coming to America, what must be prepared for those coming and for those who are here. Have you had a scenario in which, or you've heard of scenarios whereby families are broken simply because of that one thing, lack of preparation to come to America and lack of preparation to prepare for those who just showed up?
Sometimes the expectations of those who are coming are different from the reality of what is actually on ground. But talking to people sometimes, a few years ago, I got one of my high school mate. She wanted me to write her a letter of invitation, which I did for her. It wasn't a big deal. In a way, what she was telling me, because I tried to ask her, what were you coming to do and what are your expectations? She thought she would just get into this country and get a job and start working. But life is not always that easy that you just come and they pick you up from the airport and the next week we can find you a job. No, things can be hard. So you have, when you get a sponsoring family that you have to stay with, things that are not always easy, and those families themselves might be managing, living from one paycheck to next paycheck, but the person coming from home might not really realize that this family is trying to make ends meet.
I came on a scholarship, I was 18, but you know, my my view of America is what I read in Jet magazine and Ebony when I was younger, but the reality is a lot different, and I'm just going to go through some of the things that I went through. Even though I came to go to school, my uncle was here, my mom's brother, he was the one who got me my admission at the school where he was, is the one that I came to stay with. So even with all that in place, there are a lot of things that I didn't expect. Number one, in Nigeria, in Ibadan, my family was very well known. I could more or less get away with anything that I wanted to get away with. I had friends who had money, we did things. I get here, it's like there are laws here. There are rules, there are laws. You have to learn the rules, the landscape, you just can't decide to do whatever you want to do. Like I remember going to the gas station and getting ripped off, and then I'm there trying to fight. And the guys more or less, one time got my car fixed. He pulled a gun on me because I was arguing with this, like, you better get out of here. You have to learn that when you're in Rome, you have to behave as the Romans do. You have to do a lot of homework, and even that might not be enough. The food is different. Here you're starting at the bottom. You are the lowest man on the totem pole. You have to learn how to navigate and get things out and get yourself together. So that takes a lot of emotional toll on you. You don't have your friends. You can't do the things that you used to do.
People have a different kind of expectations than what we're living with here. For someone coming from abroad or from their different countries, there are some cultural quirks that you must expect. The cultures are different. There is no little lie or big lies here. Where I came from, there are some lies that are acceptable. We need to be realistic. People here, if you don't work, you're going to have problem because there are some things here you want to buy or achieve. So you need to work or you turn to some illegal activities. So once you get here, this is my advice. Find a mentor that you know that they're straight. That could be your key to success in this country.
It's careful planning. What are you coming to do? Where are you in life? How old are you? Do you think you can start from the rock bottom like everybody is saying? Do you have a professional license that you can just continue here? There's a transition period. Usually it takes average between 5 years and 10 years before you're fully settled down here. So those are the kind of things you have to sit down and discuss with the person. It's not just something you can just get up, get a visa, come here, and you see your cousin doing very well, and you think, boom, next day you're going to be doing equally as well as him, not knowing the parts, the sacrifice, the number of years he has put in. So yes, it has to be very, very careful planning.
What about those who have been here? Just like my brother, I came to my brother. What about those who have been here? What should they prepare for when they receive the newcomers?
Especially if they're coming with a family and everything, it's a sacrifice. Are you prepared to take on the hosting this family for a minimum of 6 months to a year? You have to be financially ready yourself, because all of a sudden your bills go up exponentially, and you look at your light bill, your gas bill, and like, wow, what happened here? But not realizing that while you are gone, you and your spouse, they're going to work, people are just putting on the lights, have the TV on, have multiple appliances on, have the computer on. So you really have to be prepared. And some advice people I've heard people say is, are you prepared to like maybe rent this family a place of their own, help them with their rent for the first 6 months, have them have their own, help them with the bills for the first 6 months while they get themselves together? Because that, in the best instance, has been the most practicable thing, so that you don't spoil the friendship or ruin the relationship, especially if it's a family member. That may necessarily be the best way to do it, like accommodate them or help them get settled for the first 6 months, pay their rent so that they can settle in on their own.
Whether they stay with you, and I'm talking from experience, whether they stay with you or you rent them a place, there's got to be a problem. So might as well save your sanity. So rent them a place. At the end of the day, there's going to be a problem. So rent them a place, pay for the rent for 3 months if you can, and let them, from there on, let them find a job or go to school, whatever they can do.
My mother was a very wise woman. And normally I'm such a quiet, child, so I didn't really bother her too much. But a few times that I did, that I just called to say, Mommy, this is happening. That was what she told me was, why didn't you tell me? I would have advised you to do this. Keep them for 2 weeks and then rent them a place for a few months. And then while they're in their place, get them have them navigate through the system so they can then stand on their own. Because we've had situations in which we had people months and months. And virtually almost all of that collapsed, because at one point you get frustrated because they didn't know that here you are raising your own kids, little babies, having people at your place, and they don't understand the system. They expected so much from you. You couldn't meet up, and it became disappointment to them when you are being stressed out and frustrated. So that is why this topic is very important, because I've never met, I promise you, I have not met anyone who said to me, "Oh, I had my family, it was wonderful." And no, no, no. By the time 6 months comes, you have this horror story going around. How best must we prepare our minds and prepare their minds for the reality of America?
A lot of people think, oh, I can come on a visiting visa, then I can start working. I can, you can't work. You can't. So what exactly? I mean, if you have an immigrant visa, it's different. Then you know that, okay, I need to help them or get settled so they can work. If they come on a student visa, then they have a school, there are rules with that too. You cannot, because you're already saying that you have enough money to fund your education. If you go through hard times, then you can only work on campus and things like that. So it's just a lot of managing expectations and also knowing the law, because at the same time, you don't want to get roped into doing something that's illegal. You don't want to be harboring someone who is into illegal activities.
Another thing that happens is that even when for those of us who've been here and we've seen things, we went through periods of culture shock, right? Whereby even in some cases, we almost got in trouble. I want us to discuss that. When you came, what didn't you expect to get you in trouble that got you in trouble?
Obviously, I got into quite a bit of trouble, some knowingly, some unknowingly. But I can tell you one thing, my uncle had the same scholarship that I had. So one of the first issues we had was when the scholarship money wasn't sent. So we ended up not having anywhere to go. At that time, it's like everyone needs to fend for themselves. I was fortunate I had a friend who took me in. So during that time when I'm going through, like I couldn't go to school because the school fees weren't paid. The money they sent for the maintenance, the school took it and used it for the school fees. And I mean, I was just so depressed, and all I did was just sit home and drink, drink, drink. And then he's the one who more or less helped to get me out of it. But then I remember one time I got a ticket. At this, I was working part-time on campus. I got a speeding ticket somewhere. They mailed it, but I'd moved because I'd lost my apartment, so I never saw the ticket. Next thing I knew, the police showed up, picked me up, and locked me up. I didn't even, I had access to a phone. I didn't know who to call. I didn't have anyone. So the only number I had was to give them my supervisor at the food service on campus. She's the one who came to bail me out. But I had nobody. But I can tell you that event traumatized me so much that I've never been able to go to a zoo to see caged animals. I just can't do it.
Going back to people who are coming, it is not because we say we can rent them a place. Not everybody that is going to be hosting a family or friend has that enough resources to go get another place for somebody else. They can barely meet their own bills. So I think it's always good to make sure if somebody says, I'll be coming and I'll be staying with you, to check, yes, to confirm what are you coming to do? What kind of visa are you bringing? What are your expectations? And if you cannot meet it, tell them right there and then, I'm sorry, I'm not the right family for you because I cannot do this. It's better, they might be mad at you, but it's better that way than they come and everybody, they're unhappy, you're unhappy, and you still end up not being friends anyway. Yeah, so that being said, and when it comes to the law, from the time you write that letter of invitation, you've already claimed you're going to be responsible for them and you're on the hook.
Things are a little bit different these days. The world is a global place now because of the communications, the internet. People know what they're coming into. They will just not tell you because they can access the internet, TikTok, all the social media. They know what's going on here. So, but they have their own plans. They have what they want to do. So you really have to know the person you're bringing into your home. Is it on your side? Is it on your spouse's side? Because those could create all sorts of frictions. So it's very important that you have a heart-to-heart talk with your loved one. Hey, what is this person coming to do? Why not let us get an apartment for this person? Can we afford to get an apartment for this person? Do you want them to stay? Do you really want them to stay with us? How well do you know them? Another thing is, it's a little bit different when it's your parents coming in now. That's a totally different game. The way you have to speak to your parents, if it's on my side or your wife's side, because some parents come in here, you and your wife, you're working, you have a 9 to 5, you're coming in, you're not going to have food on the table all the time, like the Nigerian family expect that, or when you get home, there's food on your table. And no, you're not going to have that here. Yeah, it's hey honey, what can you get? Oh, I'm buying this. So many times I come out, I'm at the store, I'm buying this for you, I'm buying this kind of food coming into the house. But when you have a parent there, she'd be looking at you like, why isn't the wife making food for the husband? They'd be looking at her like a side eye. But you and your wife understand that this is the States. Everybody has a 9 to 5. Nobody's going to expect food on the table every evening. So those are the kind of things we have to let our parents know, communicate. I thank
God when my parents used to come, they were very, very understanding. My mom would cook before we came home and take care of the kids. But the problem I had with my mom is that, I would leave her home all day by herself because my wife and I were working. And then when I come home, she's been waiting for me to come home so that she could talk to me. She's finally happy she has someone to interact with. But then I'm so tired. I'm like, Mommy, I can't think. I need to get some rest. So that used to make her so upset, and she'll get depressed and cried. And eventually the way we solved that is, Mommy, please don't come and visit me unless you bring your husband. When they come together, life was better. They take walks, they exercise together, they kept each other busy, and life was a whole lot better when we did it that way.
In my case, I think I was very surprised as to how quiet America could be. But then I was in Ibadan, in Oremeji, so I usually stayed home by myself anyway. So I was used to being at home by myself. But I couldn't believe that coming to America would be that much lonely. So I went on the yellow pages and I went looking for any name that starts with an ADE for Ade, right? OLA for all our last names. And I've actually called everybody and I'll say, good afternoon. My name is Funmi. I'm new to America. Would you please call me? And this was at my brother's place. So my brother said, what did you do? I said, I didn't have anybody to talk to. In all of the calls that I made anyway, I think 2 people responded. One became my friend, which really helped me a lot. And then with that friendship, I was able to veer in because my brother didn't have time. And I was just like your mom, Dr. Fatoki. One day I sat by the door waiting for him to just open the door because I've been like, I couldn't call him, of course, That was those times. Things have changed now, thank God for that. And so, but that was my culture shock.
So,
That
Auntie,
really,
did you look for ONA in the phone book also in the white pages?
I didn't want any Ijebu man, so I figured I was gonna go. I had to look for APA.
You see, my experience is the opposite of Dr. Onayemi's. I came from Lagos, born and bred in Lagos. So when I came here, wow, I saw opportunities. And because of that, and this I mentioned on the last segment that it's best for newcomers to find a mentor, because if not, you can get lost very easily. So I get distracted. And I was making money, so I fell in love with cars. I was buying cars at age 21, driving nice cars here in Chicago. Then my school suffered at that time because I got distracted because of the group, the friends I was keeping at that time. And I said that also on the last segment. Your friends, your initial friends has a lot to do with your success. And whether you have a mentor or not, if you're trying to go astray, your mentor can pull you back. So I drop out of school. Then we started partying and having cars. So my point here is this: be focused. It is very easy, especially if you're coming from somewhere like Lagos. You're already used to fast lane. So you come over here, you see the opportunity, you can get distracted very easily.
When we talk about nitty-gritty, though, to get into that whole idea of getting jobs and all, we need some stuff. We need documents. Some people they actually came legally, but then they don't know. For example, I didn't know to open a bank account for almost 2 years, right? So my point is, what do we then do? What should people do as soon as they learned within 30 days or maybe 60 days? What should they look to get as documents in order to really forge ahead?
They need a social security number. And I remember those years, all you just had to do was just walk in with your passport and your visa and you could get a social security number. Then the social security number is the key to everything. It's totally different now. You can't get a social security number easily. So without that social security number, you really cannot do anything. I've heard people use tax identification numbers and all that nice stuff. It's just a way of jamming yourself down the road. So the key thing is if you're coming in with the right visa, and make sure if you're a student visa, it will be easy to get a social security number. If you're coming in with an E2 visa, which is like a business, it will be easy to get a social security number. But the key is that social security number.
In terms of health, what should people have?
When it comes to healthcare, of course, your insurance, because healthcare can be very expensive. But like Dr. Soyemi said, to do that, though, you need the social security number. I would say you need the first thing to try to get in is your social security number and driver's license or state ID. Once you have those two things, then it makes it easier to get into everything else. Health insurance, if you can pay for it, and that's if you plan to be here on a long-term purpose, then of course you need to get your health insurance. And then the person that you come to stay with, based on what is your reason for being here, we then help you to start navigating, registering in school if that's what it is, looking for jobs if that's what it is. So, but yes, you will need the help of somebody.
Dr. Fatoki, we know that people come to this country, they're just visiting, and they really, maybe they've fallen ill or maybe some accident, they do get taken care of, don't they? I mean, without health insurance, right?
For example, in Chicago, they do have like safety net hospitals. I mean, when it's an emergency, obviously, anywhere you go, you cannot turn people away for emergency care. But it has to be a true emergency. But yeah, you could end up with a bill. But the other thing too is like, if they report it, that could affect you getting a visa to come back if you don't pay the bill. So there are cases of people that come here, have babies and think they can go back, but no, they do send out bills, because I know people who have had to pay bills before they will renew their visa. But again, if it's a true emergency, there are some safety net hospitals that you can go to and eventually negotiate a payment with them.
I think upon arrival here, the easiest way nowadays to get into the system is to join whichever your faith is, to join a church or a mosque. That would be your immediate networking over there. Because your health insurance, you can navigate it very easily. Some of them about jobs. So if you're a Muslim, join a mosque. If you're a Christian, join a church. Or if you're a Buddhist, join something. So that way you have your immediate networking group right there.
How important is that, everybody joining some kind of club or community network?
I agree that will help, because that's an immediate, so many dozens at least, if not hundreds sometimes, of people you can relate with, and there'll be somebody in that church or mosque that knows somebody that can help you out in something. So I do agree that it will be very beneficial to join a faith group or a club of some kind that will provide a lot of opportunities. I agree.
having people with like minds to interact with is good for your mental health.
For those coming from abroad, please know that those in America, we are all going through the, spinning our wheels in America. So please just have limited expectations and know that by coming, people are coming, that you're being helped to come to this country, and don't take that for granted at all. Sometimes it's really too much for a family to take on even one person, not to talk about taking on the whole family. So we say to you, be prepared, know America, and for us here, we should also know what to prepare them for. So thank you again. This is Healthy Mind, Better Future. America will stretch you, challenge you, and if you stay grounded, it will also bless you. Remember, you didn't come this far to stop now. Keep learning, keep asking questions, keep growing. This has been Healthy Minds, Better Future. I'm your host, Funmi Apantaku-Onayemi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Before we wrap up today's episode of Healthy Mind, Better Future, I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you for tuning in. If you found this conversation helpful or inspiring, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you know someone who could benefit from today's topic, please share this video with them. It might be just what they need. We'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below to let us know what you thought of today's episode, or tell us what topics you'd like us to cover in the future. This space is for you, and your voice helps shape what we do next. Thanks again for being part of this journey toward a healthier mind and a better future.